Yeah, I am. Even as a young boy, Phil Goble knew what he wanted to become, an accomplished actor. So he made this ambition the god of his life, at the sacrifice of something far more significant. Cheryl Ann Gardner has Phil's story.
For some people, these streets symbolize the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The glamour of stardom has caused many to set their sights on acting from the time they're very young. For Phil Goble, who remembers when he first wanted to be an actor, pursuit of an acting career would become much more than just a glamorous lifestyle.
I was 8 years old. I was at my brother's junior high school play. He played Tom Sawyer. I lived in Oakland City, Indiana, in a small town, and I knew right then and there I wanted to be an actor. And I had a stage door mother who was a Christian, and she got me my tap dancing lessons and my voice lessons and everything, and I started memorizing Shakespeare.
While his mother's Christian faith impressed Phil to the point of nominal conversion, it didn't quite measure up to the other love of his life, acting. And this is probably why.
I was baptized when I was 12 years old in a Baptist church, but the thing is, I didn't really study the Bible, and so my Christianity didn't really get a chance to grab.
By his early 20s, Phil had graduated from Indiana University with a master's in drama and a singular reason for living.
Acting had become a great idol to me, and I had my own religion, which was my acting career. I basically lost all faith in Jesus when I was in the university, and I thought of him as a nice, dead prophet.
By the time Phil was 25, he had moved out to California and was starting to realize his dream.
I did some TV comedy shows. I did regional theater, summer stock, did a lot of commercials. I must have done 35 or 40 commercials. And I was starting to make a nice living as an actor. I was living in Beverly Hills.
But material wealth and recognition, strangely enough, don't always bring the gratification one might think. For Phil, it became increasingly clear that he was empty and life had lost meaning. One day, while Phil looked through a library book on actors, he realized something that surprised him.
I saw all these pictures of all these actors in the early 1900s, and I didn't know any of them. All the stars were has-been nobodies. But I always thought that, you know, your acting career, there was some tangible fame or fortune or something to it worth sacrificing your soul, so to speak, on the altar of Broadway. But when I saw that really it was just a profession, and a forgettable one at that, not something you could ground your existence on, I began to really see that my idol was being shattered.
And even though he had lost any faith in Christ's true resurrection from the dead, after meeting and befriending a young atheist named Paul, Phil was strangely and gently nudged to the reality of his need to know more about the Bible.
And whenever we talked about Jesus, I had a kind of a sentimental feeling about Jesus, but he hated him. He saw him as a charlatan, and the whole idea of Christianity was a terrible ripoff, and Jesus was a real malevolent figure. And I thought, well, he can't be that bad. Maybe I should read the Bible and really see what Jesus is all about.
Phil's quandary with that became more pronounced when he picked up an old man on the streets of Hollywood who claimed to be a writer and had forgotten where he lived. When they finally found the rundown hotel where the man resided, the old man showed Phil the only piece of writing he still had after so many years. The words Phil read hit him right between the eyes.
And it said, "What can any man do, really and ultimately, but love God?" And I saw that 60 years from then, if I didn't have God, I wouldn't have anything. And for the first time in my life, I understood what it means to love the Lord your God with all your heart, because really, He's all you really have. Everything else you lose.
As Phil began to finally take time to read the Bible, he came to the hardest but most significant decision of his life.
And I could see all the sin in my life. I could see all the idolatry and the selfishness of my life. And I began to feel a great remorse. I wanted God to forgive me, And I wanted to present my life to him and say, okay, Lord, it's now totally yours. You can do whatever you want me to do. If you want me to give up my acting career and go into the ministry and be a preacher, I'll do that, whatever.
What Phil did was share his newfound faith in Christ with everyone around him. Living in Hollywood, that consisted primarily of the Jewish population. Today, he's responsible for starting several Messianic congregations in Hollywood and New York City and heads up the Artists for Israel group, a training ground for Christians to learn how to share the gospel in dramatic fashion. Also, Phil's love for the Bible grew, and out of his study of the life of Paul the Apostle emerged first a book and then a play, a presentation that Phil has repeated to rapt audiences for over 15 years.
Oh, I had a dream last night, Luke, about the song I taught Silas at Philippi 15 years ago, and about the earthquake when God rescued us from prison. Then I woke up in prison again.
The glamour and glitter of stardom has thankfully faded into the distance for Phil. Acting is no longer an idol, but just a means to a greater end. His belief in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ has changed his priorities forever, and it's pretty conceivable, at the end of Phil's life, he will have no regrets.
The people that I've touched, the lives that have been changed in my life since I've known the Lord are so much better than anything I could have had as a secular entertainer. Because even if you do very, very well, what is an Academy Award or some kind of award like that compared to seeing thousands of people come to the Lord? So I feel that God really, thank the Lord that I gave my life to him, because I would really have wasted my whole life if I hadn't let the Lord take it and shape it and use it as he saw fit.